travelers. The time has come. The time for you to pour some of your finest unicorn blood and listen to this conversation. The time has come to eviscerate the mathematics of crafting double tier 7 items.
Wait, stop right there. I see you guys. I know what you're thinking. Mathematics is cool, but first, a quick digression. Let me tell you where this video comes from. I got this idea some weeks ago when I was still hustling to improve my gear. I was actively farming unclaimed troves to get the most imprint procs possible, wasting my hours, my memory ambers, my crafting resources, and my mental sanity just to get those juicy double tier 7 items crafted into the affixes I wanted to slam. But the more time I spent on it, the more I saw my gear brick instead of giving me results. And frustration started to kick in and my head started filling with questions. Is the game trolling me? Is the imprint strategy the way to go? Am I just being really unlucky, or is the game that's rigged? What chances am I playing against here? Oh wait, this last question we don't know. We don't know those chances yet. And that's what I set out to do. I started creating mathematical models to calculate those chances. And what I found out is pretty interesting. I will add some disclaimers later in the video specifying what parts of my calculations are approximative and what are exact. So if you are a nerd, you might want to check that part out. Or if you want any more details than those given in this video, feel free to reach me out on Discord. But for now, let me get out of the way and let's let Franzoishka the Witch explain these results, where they come from, and what they actually mean.
Now, dear boy, if you possess no understanding of imprints, nor the quiet malice with which they behave, I urge you to step away from this lesson and return only when you are certain of your footing, for the path ahead is not for the uninitiated, and I shall proceed under the assumption that you, heedless creature, already have a perfect imprint secured within your weaver tree.
Oh yes, Franzoishka, tell them.
Your so-called perfect imprint must bear these traits: a single empty slot, 1 tier 1 affix, and 2 tier 7 affixes, resting in the very places opposite to where your final tier 7s must ultimately reside. So, for example, if my ambition is to shape something like this in the end, then the imprint I have been showing is the only one fit for the task, and it is that imprint which I shall continue to wield, our lone example, as we descend further into this topic. So then, from this imprint we have taken as our example, the form it assumes when it finally procs will not always mirror the layout of the original. No, it may twist itself into other patterns entirely, as shown, where each X represents any tier in between 1 and 7. According to my calculations, the distribution of these possible shapes is as follows. Keep this in mind. It shall serve us well later. Our chief concern lies with the first pattern, the 0177 configuration, for it is the simplest to forge, and by good fortune, or grim design, the most likely to emerge when an imprint triggers, as you can plainly see. Now, for each of these scenarios, the paths we must follow to shape them into the precise item we desire diverge from one another. This ancient scroll records the most effective methods for such an undertaking, each tied to its own starting point. Study it closely, but do not linger over long, should you place any value upon your sanity.
Okay, you know what, Franzoishka, go to hell. I'm getting bored myself. I'm retaking control. And my first action is changing the music. If I wanted this crap, I would have just called my channel Anxiety Dog, for God's sake. So basically, guys, what I did was create models to simulate each of these crafting scenarios you're seeing, with some given forging potentials. And they brought me to these results here. As you can see, we have an actual overall chance of success on the first line, and a chance of success with at least one remaining forging potential on the second line, which is relevant because it allows us either to re-roll the affixes within their tiers, or to use Rune of Creation to copy it. Now, if we weight the chances of the item to have a precise affix layout for their resulting chance of success, we get this more general set of data. So, what does all of this mean? Well, the first thing to notice is that forging potential matters a lot. So having a higher forging potential imprint can increase tremendously the chances for a positive outcome, making it definitely worth it to spend a little more time getting a higher FP imprint rather than hoping to get lucky with a worse one. Also, as you can see, the higher the starting forging potential balance, the better the chances to end up with some forging potential left for more eventual flexibility. Let's get it one step further. Assuming you find a double tier 7 from Imprint every 50 caches, and I will tell you in the disclaimer section where this comes from. If we multiply that chance for that of success, we get an approximation of the amount of caches we actually need to end up with our desired outcome. Here it is. And as you can see, this perspective makes forging potential look even more important. And this is consistent with what I've experienced. The items that generated me a ton of frustration were ones with a forging potential close to the lower end, just right above 20. While, for example, I got pretty easily some helmets for my mages that came out from this imprint that has 46 and it almost felt effortless. This doesn't consider the chances to be punished by Julra, and that's pretty important because if that fails, we have to redo the whole process. So let's see how much caches we need to actually succeed over there, taking in consideration our possibility to have a copy of the item whenever the outcome has at least 1 FP left. Here we go. This is the estimate for how many caches you need to actually find, craft, and slam a double tier 7 into a 2 LP unique item successfully. Okay, so is this worth it in practice? Well, if we consider just the chances of success after crafting as seen previously, we might say, alright, that's doable. But when we consider this final step here, we see where the system falls apart. This is way too much. Like, if we consider that unclaimed troves take each about 5 minutes to clear, and even if you actually fast clear them without ever stopping, this or here is the time you have to spend there. To that, you need to add the time to actually farm memory amber, that even at your best speed can probably get you 30,000 per hour, the time you need to get your double LP unique, and the time needed to get runes of havoc. This alone might add many, many hours to the effort. Consider also that we set as a prerequisite having an optimal imprint. If you don't have it, it will take you quite some effort as well. And also consider that every single step of this process, except maybe the crafting part, feels like a job, a repetitive, boring, tedious chore. So, my final take? This process may be worth it only if you get an imprint with at least 40 forging potential, sporadically, and it still wouldn't be an activity that respects your time. So, it's really up to you and whether if you want to milk every ounce of power creep the crafting system allows in this game. Many people gave up on double tier 7 just from negative experience only. That was kind of wise. But don't even try to tell me, oh, we didn't need math to know this. We still got some good parameters out of this, plus a man can hope. Now, I promise some disclaimers. Number 1, the outcomes of the imprint procs might vary from the numbers I've given you. I've calculated them basing on the reroll chances divulged lately, but I've been told that there might be more to it. I don't think the chances will diverge too much from what I've given, but still, I'll keep an eye out for updates. This makes my weighed chances an approximation. What is exact, though, are the chances of success for each crafting scenario. Number 2, the optimal imprint configuration itself might have more to it. There are other people out there much more fit than me to talk about this, so I will let them, without spending a single more word on it. Number 3, I did not consider the outcome where an X affix is a tier 2, which can as well be sealed with a glyph of despair with good chances of success, simplifying its forging process. The chances of this scenario to happen and their difference from the actual general scenario I've proposed wouldn't impact significantly the final result though. Number 4, I did not take in consideration the possibility of one of the affixes to actually come out ready as one of the affixes desired in the final outcome. That's due to the fact that the chances for this to happen are affix type dependent and are very, very thin, thus negligible. Lastly, number 5. The number of caches needed to proc an effective double tier 7 drop comes from an imprint guide that circulates in the community thanks to some content creators who shared it, and it reports an estimate of 1 effective proc every 52 caches. My personal calculation gave me a slightly higher frequency, but it seems again there might be more to it, as affix tiers reroll chances matter also here. So I've decided to round it somewhere in the middle while waiting for more precise data. Thus consider the number of caches of troves and memory ambers needed an approximation. That said, I'm done. I hope I've been brief enough to not bore you guys to death, and I hope you found this video informative. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.